I get it. I have friends that actually model a lot, and some of them are engaged and they have to do photo shoots with either themselves in a wedding dress, or they have to do it with kind of like a fill-in fake groom. And it's like, yeah, exactly. And it's not like you're cheating or doing anything bad. Like, you're literally just working and doing your work. But it's cool because, as you mentioned, it's kind of like you're getting to be a bride again while also showcasing a designer's beautiful piece of work.
Yeah, and this is runway, so this is totally like, this is just my favorite thing.
So now that we're on the topic of getting married in wedding dresses,
Good segue.
it's a good little segue. I feel like you're just like helping me segue right
I
into
got
this,
you.
Tess. So Miss Tess Annique Souray is actually married to former NHL player Sheldon Souray, Canadian ice hockey player. He was a defenseman, 13 seasons in the NHL, played for the Anaheim Ducks, New Jersey Devils, the Dallas Stars, Montreal Canadiens, and the Edmonton Oilers. So he's actually known for his hard slap shot, from what I understand, which is pretty neat. And how did you guys both meet? I understand it's kind of an interesting story, and it kind of goes along with your sobriety as well. So before we even talk about your husband, maybe give us some backstory on your sobriety and how much you want to share with the BosBabes fanatics, and then kind of get right into how you guys freaking met.
Sure. So my sobriety date is October 13th, 2017, but long before that, I knew that I was totally unhappy with like who I was when I looked in the mirror. There's probably a period of 3 years that was really, really difficult for me. And the only way I knew how was to kind of like drink to escape and feel the, and because he didn't want to feel the pain. It's a very common motive kind of in anyone who's trying to get sober or struggling with alcoholism or addiction. And so I had heard from a few people like, you should go to treatment, XYZ, and I wasn't in that space yet. And I'd heard that for probably about a year and a half from different people that I was close with at the time. And then basically, until it gets bad enough and you yourself want to go and get help, you don't want to hear anything. And so it definitely got bad enough for me. And that was January 2017. And I couldn't feel like being that sad anymore. And it wasn't that I didn't want to, like, I couldn't do anything about it. I would never actually, try to hurt or cause pain upon myself. But I knew that if this is the way that life was worth living, that I didn't want to go about it because I felt like there was no point, there was no purpose. I was so depressed, had so much anxiety, and I couldn't do it. And so I asked for help. And that day, that was January 23rd, 2017, that day I went to treatment. So within like 3 hours, I was working with a therapist at a time, and she goes, I'm glad you're ready. I've been trying to get you to this place, for 2 years now. I finally was. And so I went to treatment in Arizona. And it was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. When I got there, they said that we're going to put you on addiction track 1. And I was like, addiction? But I'm not here for drugs and alcohol. I'm just here to like stop feeling so miserable. And they're like, well, the habits that you've been talking about are concerning if you're an alcoholic. And I didn't believe them. I was like, if I'm an alcoholic, then you have to take every other, 22-year-old girl living in Los Angeles. And they go, we're not worried about them. We're worried about you. And so that kind of started and opened the door to me in regards to like my healing journey. And so that was super important.
I love that you are bringing up your healing journey and sharing all that information, because there might be some people listening to this podcast episode that might be questioning themselves. Hey, should I go seek help? When is it my time to go seek help? So thank you for pointing out the fact that for most people, any situation that you're dealing with, how you cope with it is your means of coping with it. And it could be a positive thing like going to the gym, or it could be something more on the negative side, as you're speaking about, as far as getting into drugs and alcohol. And when you're ready to seek that help, there are people to help you out. In an upcoming Instagram post, I will put some self-help information for people that are looking to get some self-help if you are seeking that advice. I do understand, Tess, that that's part of the reason why you actually met your husband. So the silver lining is, 1, obviously you bettered your own life. 2, you actually met your amazing husband there. So I recently read an article on brides.com, and I quote, I loved this quote, and this is why I want to repeat it. Tess actually said in this brides.com article, she's speaking about her husband, Sheldon, of course. We were both in a very low place when we met. It's been a beautiful journey to be on this healing journey with him. We've been able to inspire each other to become the best versions of ourselves. So Tess, on talking about your healing journey, how was it meeting? And at the beginning, obviously, you just kind of sparked a friendship with Sheldon while getting into recovery.
Yeah, so we actually were both there at the same time, and we were in a lot of the same groups together. And he shares his story on a lot of different like podcasts and platforms, and so I feel comfortable sharing about it. But it was just kind of like, God's work at that time that we were both there at the same time, same place, and our paths crossed. What's so interesting is that I've actually lived in every city he's played in. I went to school in Dallas. I lived in New York. I grew up in, Southern California, and I lived like 3 minutes away from where he lived in when he played for Anaheim. And so we had a lot of mutual friends and knew a lot of the same people in these cities, just like such a Hail Mary. And the fact that our paths crossed that day is something that like I know the reason why I woke up that morning and was like, I need to go to treatment today. And the biggest reason behind that was because God knew like had to meet him at that time. And we were just friends at first. I think 6 months later after treatment, I never even talked to him after it. You meet a lot of people there, but you're there for one thing, and that's to get help. And I think a lot of people don't realize that there's not really any space or time for anything but like the reason why you're there, which is like, someone please help me. And moving forward, we actually reconnected because one of my friends had passed away from a fentanyl overdose. And he had reached out to me and was like, hi, I had heard, about all this stuff. It's Sheldon from treatment. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to support you. And that's kind of how we reconnected, 6, 7 months later after that, which was a pretty wild way to start, speaking to someone.
That honestly is such a beautiful story. And again, I appreciate you getting so candid and open about how you guys met and how you guys both kind of recovered both together now, currently as a couple, and individually while being in treatment. And that kind of goes along with my next question. How are you guys growing together currently as a couple and also individually, which I think is a beautiful question to ask, especially for those, again, that might be listening and saying, wow, you know what? Like, I have a daughter, I have a son. Maybe I should try to get them help. Or maybe somebody listening to this podcast episode themselves are contemplating getting some type of therapy. How are
Right.
you
That's
guys
actually a
growing
beautiful
together?
question. I think it's incredible. I love the way that we met, but I love also the way we continue to grow because he knows what I need and I know what he needs because we're doing the same thing. And so, we both do our own programs, we have our own friends, we have our own support systems within the community. I personally do a lot of women's meetings, he does a lot of men's meetings, but at the end of the day, we're both two people in recovery programs. And so we kind of speak that similar language. I think a lot of times people might not understand the language. Is almost like, learning a new language. There's all these different new words and nuances and ways to go about things. And I think it's so powerful when both people know that because it just makes it that much stronger going forward.
We're going to switch on over and kind of like ask you, what are some of your top memories with Sheldon currently, aside from obviously healing and getting spiritual together and growing? Are there any like fun activities that you guys like to do together? What are some of your favorite date spots? What do you guys like
Oh,
to
I
do
love
together
that.
for fun?
Well, when we first started kind of like dating and we were living together, he was like, we're not, falling in love, we're rising in it. And so that was kind of like one of the things that we've always, one of our little sayings that we've always said to each other was like, cheers to not falling in love, but rising in it. And so, we just love doing normal everyday things, but there's also some pretty great, amazing things that have happened. Like we built our first house together. We designed it. He had never done anything like that. I had never done anything like it. We built it from the ground up. So that was like a huge labor of love and patience because it was during COVID. But we've been here for about, I think, a year and a half now, and it's just been incredible. We love it so much. But in terms of like every day or every week, we're pretty much home buddies. Like we love we love our home. We love staying at home. So I cook or we order Postmates. We watch sports and movies for the most part. And then sometimes, we love going out to sushi. We have like a great hole in the wall sushi restaurant here that we love. It's like a hidden gem. It's so yummy. And we love going to country concerts. We're both country music people. And so that's kind of like our favorite thing to do is country music and sushi date nights. That's like the combo.
You guys have any animals? Are there any kids potentially in the
Yes.
horizon? What's going on with the Souray family over there?
Well, we have a little Frenchie, a little French bulldog who is literally Sheldon's best friend. I think I just third wheel them all the time. His name is Moose Stash Souray. He's also Canadian. He's actually from the same town that Sheldon grew up in, which is amazing. So there's like I have like my two Canadian boys. I'm working on trying to finesse him to let me get another one, a girl dog. So we have that in the works. Fingers crossed. So our dog Moose, he's just the cutest thing. His mom is actually pregnant right now, and so I'm just like waiting for him to be like, yeah, we're gonna get a girl dog. I don't know if it'll happen, but one can dream.
Super
And
cute, super
I
cute.
know they're just the best. I love dogs. We don't deserve them.
And are you guys planning on potentially having kids down the road? Or I know you
Oh my
already
gosh,
mentioned that,
yes.
yeah, Sheldon has a couple of kids already, but you guys plan on potentially down the road having your own? And
Yes.
again, I ask that loosely because not everybody wants to have kids. So you can answer that how you want, but are you guys thinking about it? Are you guys planning? Do you want to just have dog babies?
Dog babies. I'll take as many dog babies as he'll let me, but also he has two daughters that are 18 and 15. They live in LA. And so we see them frequently, but as like a teenager in LA, you don't want to hang out with your parents. You want to go see your friends and live your life, and they're definitely independent, doing their own thing. And then I would love to have like twin boys. I'd love to have boys, as many as Sheldon will let me have. Just because I'm still that tomboy at heart. So like I love going to, sports games. Like I'll go to all the t-ball games, all the soccer games, whatever. So I'd love to have as many boys as possible, as many as he'll let me have.
Very exciting. Lots of boys and lots of doggy puppies. I'm going to be creeping on the Instagram to see what transpires from this.
Oh yeah, the puppies I can't get enough of.
And as far as like the wedding talk, let's hop right into it. So I know you kind of poked the bear and mentioned that you guys enjoy country music. On that brides.com little interview that you did, I understand that Sheldon proposed at the top of a mountain in Idaho, which I thought was really interesting. And it was actually, I don't know if he did it to a country song or you guys were just listening to a country song by Brett Young, but can you tell the story of him proposing, girl? Because you know that these BosBabes fanatics need to hear it.
Yes, so it was on my birthday, which is August 23rd. So I actually really was not expecting it. When it's your birthday, you're just kind of like, oh, okay, what are we doing today? And it was beautiful. We were in Idaho because we're there in the summers, and I had wanted to go on a hike because there's this hike that we do there all the time. And I think my birthday was during the week, so it's like not that busy, but it's very busy on the weekends, this hike in particular. And so we went, I think, early in the morning before, and then we were going to go get breakfast. And so we go on this hike, I think 9:30. It's beautiful out, like 80 degrees, no clouds in the sky. So we go on the hike that we normally go to. And previously, we had done that hike on our like sober birthdays, which is when you get a chip, like a little coin, and it says how many years sober you are. And so we had done this hike previously and given each other chips on our birthdays. And so we get to the top of it. The hike is called Mineral Ridge, and all of a sudden I hear like our song playing. And I like look around because I don't know where it's coming from. And then I turn around and like Sheldon's on one knee and he's playing and he's holding it. He's crying, I'm crying, we're all crying. I honestly don't even remember walking down because I still had like another, 3/4 of a mile left to go on this hike. I don't think that's the old blur. Don't remember it. All of a sudden, like I come to like an hour and a half later at breakfast, sitting on the patio, and I'm like, wait, did that happen? It was the best day.
That is gorgeous. That was actually going to be my next question, but I guess you kind of already answered it. I was going to say, did you black out when he proposed? And when I say black out, I mean in the sense like you're just so excited and emotional. It happened to me. My
Yes,
fiance proposed this past
100%.
January, and I don't even remember half of it. It's like
Don't
it's
remember.
so much all at once.
Yeah, it's actually it was super cool because we were on this mountain. It was just the two of us, but it was otherwise empty. But there was this like older woman. She's probably like 65. I don't even know how she had an iPhone, but she did. And she was maybe like 50 feet behind us. We hadn't heard her the whole time. And so she took a picture of us. And we've never shared it because it's like private, but it's like so cute. It's like me on his arms right after. And I can't believe that she actually captured that photo. It's kind of like the one moment I've kept to myself because it's just so special to me. But I do have that, and it's just like pure joy. So I'm really happy that, this woman was able to take a picture of us and she sent it to me after. It was amazing.
Well, that's a beautiful proposal story. And I want to hear a little bit about the wedding because, of course, we are talking about the proposal. So, my BosBabes fanatics are like, okay, Britt, you're giving us the freaking proposal details. We need to hear about the wedding because we found out how they met. So, dish the deets. I understand from what I've heard through the grapevine, according to the brides.com website. Of course, I read that interview, which I thought was amazing. It sounds
Oh,
like you
thank
guys
you.
had like a 3-day weekend or like a full weekend where you had like friends and family. As you mentioned to me, it was like a small and intimate wedding of 75 people. That's perfect. My fiance and I are only having about 100 people as well. Sometimes I feel like that's the best way to do it because you are, again, having very close friends and family. You aren't having to like stress out about saying hello to aunt number 8 that you only see once a year. Like you're just having that intimate ceremony, and that's exactly what we want to do as well. So what exactly did you guys do for your wedding? How did you celebrate? Where was it? What did your dress look like? All those good details.
So all the good details. It was actually really great. We actually eloped in Vegas, just the two of us, before, like a few days before our actual wedding, which was so fun because I also blacked out during the wedding, like emotionally, there's so much going on and it's just so many different things coming at you that you kind of like, you're at the end of it, you're like, wait, it's already over. Weddings are the absolute best. And I am so excited for you and your wedding. It's going to be beautiful. But yeah, our wedding was actually our 5-year anniversary to the first time I went after we reconnected up to Idaho to visit him, was like the weekend after Labor Day weekend. And so 5 years to the day of the first time that I came back up there is when our wedding was, which was really special. And because of COVID and, everything that had happened, we knew we couldn't ask people to come to Idaho for, a day, really. And we turned it into a little 3-day weekend, and it was amazing. It was our closest family and friends, a lot of people that have supported us on our recovery journeys, a lot of our sober friends, a lot of our friends that have been through our struggles with us. And so it was just like the most beautiful weekend celebrating, and I loved every second of it. In terms of the dresses and all of that good stuff, that has been something I've looked forward to for such a long time. I've done a lot of bridal work as well, so I probably, worn over 100 different dresses in my life, trying them on for photo shoots and stuff. So I knew exactly what I wanted everything to look like. And we had a few different events, and every day of our wedding weekend had a different feel to it, which I think brought, a full experience for our guests, and everyone really liked it. Just because of like COVID and planning purposes, I had my bridal shower during the wedding weekend, which is kind of unconventional. Normally it's like, before, but there's just no way I was going to get all these women, from all over the world together at the same place, like more than once. And so we got married up at Gaza Ranch, which is where we live in the summers in Idaho, and we love it. So where we first met and reconnected, where, I got engaged and all this stuff. So we knew we were going to get married there. We knew it was going to be outside, and we knew it was going to be that weekend. So all those details kind of came together quite nicely. Sheldon, of course, is a huge golfer, loves to golf, and all of his friends do as well. So all the guys played golf up there. We had my bridal shower, which was a really fun and beautiful thing. One of my friends, Peyton, did just like the sweetest thing. Everyone was crying. It was just so encouraging. Everyone said the sweetest things about us, and there was not a dry eye. I was like, everyone said it was the most emotional bridal shower because people were just genuinely so happy. I was crying like a hot mess. That was, I think, the most I probably cried that weekend was the bridal shower. But in terms of our wedding day, it was just so special. We actually did a lot of things, I think, differently than a traditional wedding. We didn't have a first dance. We got ready together with his kids that were there because obviously we're in our house. We're not going to leave, and there wasn't a hotel close by or anything. So we got ready together, which was also super special, like kind of helping him in his tux and him helping me in my dress. So that was just really beautiful.
I love that. It sounds like it was just like a very, again, intimate, close, tight-knit, but beautiful wedding. And a lot of the times, sometimes doing things non-traditionally is the way to go. And I'm not just saying this because I have you on here, but for example, and again, I think it goes along with the athletes and their careers. For example,
Totally.
My fiance and I, and I'll give a quick little backstory. I'll keep it short because a lot of my BosBabes fanatics have already heard this story on previous podcasts, but Ryan and I started talking about getting engaged last January. We custom created our engagement ring, but Tess, before he even actually proposed, we had already had a freaking wedding venue picked out. So we had a wedding venue picked out in October. He didn't propose until January. So it's kind of like, it doesn't matter how you do things, whether they're conventional or non-conventional. It just matters, are you with the right person? are you guys going to be happy for the rest of your lives? And as long as you're enjoying every part of that journey, that's all that really matters, you know? And I think that's
Totally.
beautiful how you guys did it.
Yeah, we did things that spoke to us, that were important to us. I mean, we even did things like, I think people arrived on Friday, and then we had like a nice little welcome barbecue dinner that our friends graciously hosted for us at their house. And so that was super low key, super chill. Saturday, the guys played golf. I had my bridal shower, but we did like group workouts at 8 in the morning together, that our friends hosted. They have like a gym at their house, and so we all did group workouts. And so it was totally different. I think we had a lot of elements that we wanted to showcase, kind of like a weekend in Idaho, because that place was so special to us. And so we kind of just did what we normally do. And we had, I think, the perfect amount of people because I was able to spend time with each and every person that weekend. And it wasn't overwhelming, but I was really grateful that there wasn't more people, because I think it could be overwhelming, with those people that have large weddings. I can see how they're always like, talking, and at the end of the day, they're like, oh, I never even got to see my husband that much. And so for me, I really wanted to make sure that I was with my husband and, spending that special day together for that weekend. And yeah, it was really, really great. I'm very happy with the way things turned out and the way that we did it. It was, I think every girl kind of has their Pinterest board, or their ideas of how they want their wedding weekend to look like, and mine was even better than I could have ever imagined.
Girl, flash that ring. We gotta see it. She had me flash my ring earlier. Look how freaking beautiful that is. I'm gonna have to take a screenshot of it and share it
Are you?
out later. But if you guys are looking, it kind of has a really awesome oval shape. It is a freaking rock, and her wedding band is, I think, all diamonds
The
going
same
around it as
thing.
well. Is it all the way
Yeah.
around? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's the same as I wanted it super simple. Sheldon's
Very
like,
cute.
that's
I
not
mean,
simple.
I love it. I love the simplicity of it. Again, my engagement band, you guys have seen it too. It's a very classic, simple stone with a halo around it. And again, sometimes simple is better because it's classic and you can potentially pass that down to
Less is
either one of
more. It's what I
Sheldon's
always
daughters
say,
or your future son. And it's like a
right?
classic engagement
Can't
ring.
go
That's the way
wrong.
to go.
Can't go wrong with it.
You can't go wrong. You guys are now listening to Mrs. Tess Annique Souray. She is a model and NHL wife. You guys are listening to her talk all things her modeling career, how she met her husband, Sheldon Souray, the fact that she grew up in California, and I loved that she got very candid about her sobriety journey and how she is continuing to stay sober. Congratulations on everything that you are currently going through right now with your journey. For those of
Thank
you guys that are
you.
listening, again, I will share out some self help stuff for you as well. And maybe Miss Tess can give us some tips and techniques that I can also share out. Let's hop right into it because, again, we've been talking about wedding, her husband, all that good stuff. I want to get back into her career again because, of course, this podcast episode is all about her. So if you go to her at Tess Annique Instagram, directly underneath her link in bio, it says there's a website there called tessanique.com, all about mental health, wellness, and fitness. So, Tess, can you talk about your website? Why did you develop it? And why would somebody want to visit that website? What types of advice can they get from your website?
Totally. So I started Wellness with Tess, I think during COVID, I think April, about this time last year. And that was kind of when we were like, is this going to end soon? What's happening? We don't know. And I saw a lot of people struggling with mental health. Fortunately, there was a shift in 12-step programs. Well, it's the first time ever they were kind of put on Zoom or online, which was amazing because you could connect with people from all over the world just from the comfort of your home, which normally you'd have to go somewhere. It would take, an hour or so. And so that was a shift. But I realized that a lot of my friends who weren't in 12-step programs were really struggling with the pandemic and how it affected their mental health. And so I started Wellness with Tess, where I kind of coach women. My youngest client, I think, is 18, and then my oldest is literally 65. She's amazing. Where I speak with them one-on-one about all things mental health. Some of them are, dealing with addiction. Some of them are trying to find new ways in recovery, or they're moving to new environments, or they're trying to get out of toxic relationships. And so I work with them one-on-one, and it's just so fulfilling and very gratifying.
So you guys heard it here first. If you are looking for any types of tips or advice or even just some encouragement for that mental health, that wellness, that fitness, you can go either straight to her website, or I'm sure she's totally cool. Some of you guys, if you're not creepy, sliding in her DMs and reaching out to her. And I will say personally, she is very friendly, gets back to her messages very quickly. So I'm pretty positive she'd be okay with answering some DMs as well. Again,
Yes,
keep
of
respectful and don't be creepy.
That's
Any
so
plans
funny.
for the future, Tess? What are you guys up to this summer? Are you going to come up with like your own fitness line or your own puppy clothing line? Like, what does Tess have
Puppies.
going on?
The summer, I think we're traveling a little bit, which I'm super excited. I haven't been back to Europe since before COVID. I think the last time I was there was 2018 when I went back to Germany. And so I haven't gone with Sheldon yet. And so we really want to do that and spend some time there this summer, which I think we will. We'll be in Idaho a little bit. So definitely a lot of travel, and then of course Miami Swim Week, and I have a few different shoots in LA and New York in the springtime. So very busy, but all exciting. I always say it's a blessing to be busy, so I'm very grateful.
And before we wrap up the show, my Boss Babes fanatics love ending each and every episode with some positive pop. So, Tess, I'm going to ask you, you've already had so much positive pop, I believe, throughout this whole freaking episode, but is there anything in particular, whether it be getting up and stretching in the morning, having a cup of coffee, taking your dogs for a walk, what gets you amped up and motivated, and what is your little bit of positive pop you could share with my listeners?
My personal positive pop is this little saying that we have, better than yesterday, kind of. And basically, that just means like every day I'm just trying to be a little bit better than who I was the day before. So, hypothetically, my last day here on earth, I am the best version of myself that I have ever been. And so, that is kind of our little household thing, just a little bit better than how I was yesterday. And yeah, that's just my little 2 cents.
That is absolutely beautiful. I am so happy that I had you on here. I would love to get you back on here again, maybe sometime during the summer or in the fall to
Yes,
kind of recap what you guys have been up to if you're interested in
totally.
doing so.
I love that.
Please shout out your social media. I know that the Boss Babes Fanatics would love to, again, keep up with what you're doing as far as modeling, acting, dates with your husband, the puppies, all of that stuff.
All the
Share out your
good
social
stuff.
media.
Yeah, it's just Tess Annique on everything, essentially.
Awesome. And thank you so much for joining me today, Boss Babes Fanatics. We will have plenty more fabulous guests on this podcast. Stay tuned. You can subscribe for free on both iTunes and Spotify. And again, Miss Tess Annique, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Brittany. I had a great time.